Welcome, my friends, to the Mindful Monk series. It's a grey, rainy start to the morning here in my cell at my desk in Glenstal, County Limerick. Thank you to those several people who sent messages after the last one, especially to Margaret, and welcome to Veronica, a new person who's joined us on this adventure as we try to eke out that which will help us to really live life to the full, make use of this one wild, wonderful life that we've been gifted with. The phrase that's been most helpful to me in my life, I know, is one I heard many, many years ago, and it said, if you want to be happy, get connected. Get connected. Get connected to your body. Get connected to your own interiority. Get connected to yourself. Get connected to other people. Get connected to the sacred. Get connected to nature. Get connected to real values that bring you life. This has been like a mantra for me in my life and has helped me to find my way. The obverse is obviously true if you want to be miserable or unhappy or indeed anxious, depressed, and I would say addicted, then get disconnected. And that may not be deliberate. It can be a result of trauma or other losses. And we'll come back to that idea of loss again, as we mentioned last week. But disconnected, and our society is eroding our connectedness as I see it. You know, we're increasingly disconnected from our bodies. We're spending so much time in our heads. We're disconnected from our own interior lives, our own interiority. We're drawn out of ourselves constantly. And our education system, our religious upbringing, at least as I experienced them, was all about external behavior and grades. And there was never a time when my own interiority or what was going inside me was considered, or was I given any map or guidance as to how to manage and to know myself at that level. It was all about exteriority. And that evacuation of interiority is really very, very serious, and I would say contributing enormously to the level of mental illness or mental distress among so many, particularly young people, where technology and image are becoming so important. There's just a great big emptiness left inside, which they don't understand. And as I say, it makes people anxious and depressed, because depression and anxiety are there to bring us back to, or it's our body crying out to make that reconnection, particularly with our own interiority. We also need to be connected to nature. We've taken nature for granted, thought of ourselves as somehow separate and a breed apart. We somehow don't depend. We're not part of it. And despite the fact that the very air we breathe is breathed by the plants around us, the animals around us, and that we can't survive without it. We've created this illusion of somehow being able to walk on the planet and not be part of nature. John O'Donoghue famously said, we're the first generation to have forgotten that we live on a planet, that we're part of a planet, we're not separate beings. So I think also that to be reconnected with the sacred, we've lost that connection, and the sacred is not confined to church buildings or religious services. They help to enhance our awareness, I get that. But the sacred, the divine is all around us and in us. And that to be reconnected to that is vital, because that is going to be the guide to find our way through life. At least that's true for me. That's the way I'm going to find my way. Reconnect with real values. You know, the values we're being sold so often are what someone has described as junk values. You know, Coke is the real thing. You know, if you drink Coke, you'll find life. Or buy this, or if you own this Mercedes or this car, you know, everything's going to be hunky-dory. So consumerism is what's creating our values, because values are what we actually do. If you want to find out what your values are, just take a look at how you spend your day or your time. That's what you value. And so reconnect with real values that enhance life, that promote life, that help us to achieve life. I was just thinking there about the interiority. In a way, that's what Jung and Freud and Lawrence and Joyce were all imploring us, or they were excavating. They were the explorers of the interiority that had been neglected for centuries, And they were trying to provide us a map of that interior darkness, as it was, as they saw it, and urging us to reconnect with that part of ourselves. Reconnect with our bodies too. Reconnect with our bodies and be in touch with our bodies. They're not just vehicles to transport our minds from one place to another. They're part of who we are. So that's it. That's my main message, that we get connected with ourselves, with other people. Again, we're separating ourselves from other people, and the pandemic isn't helping us. And there's a pandemic, not only of the COVID virus, there's a pandemic of hate out there. You know, these protests and anger. And a lot of it's due to disconnection and separation. So get connected to ourselves, to others, to nature, to real values, to the sacred, to our body. That's the project. I think that's the overarching theme that will run through this series, is to promote connection and reconnection, particularly with ourselves, because that loss of self, as I'll explore, not next week probably, is what led me to depression, to being anxious and addicted. And these are natural reactions to the loss of self. You've got to fill up with something if you haven't got that strong sense of who you are. And I had lost that. For whatever number of reasons, a lot of which I have worked out. So that's it for this week. I hope you get a chance to begin the project of getting connected, even in the smallest ways, with yourself. I often think of my hands, how wonderful they are. I look at them and marvel. Okay, God bless, and keep well and keep safe.